Until now, computers, movies, music and video games have been limited to the dimensions of sight and sound. But suppose you could feel the action you've been seeing and hearing. Well, that's what the Aura Systems Inc. Interactor Cushion can help with. Let's take a look.
A 3D sound experience, a realistic high fidelity sensation. Feel the action and feel the bass. Bring your multimedia computer to life, total comfort, convenience and excitement. Well, these all sound like things I definitely want, and that chap's expression seems to align with these promises, and that's despite playing with a bordered screen in Doom 2. He seems to be right at the start of the game, so maybe he's just getting to grips with it. Using some very generic and somewhat out of place imagery, we find out that the cushion is suitable for personal computers, television, and CD music and video games. Impressive. However, the beginnings of the Interactor didn't start out like that. In the 1970s and before THX, there was something called Sensurround in movie theatres. The brainchild of Hollywood producer Jennings Lang, Sensurround was designed to give a show-like spectacle, an experience that you would not only be able to see, but also feel. At the beginning of the film Earthquake, released in 1974, a warning appeared in select cinemas. Attention! This motion picture will be shown in the startling new multi-dimension of Sensurround. Please be aware that you will feel as well as see and hear realistic effects such as might be experienced in an actual earthquake. The management assumes no responsibility for the physical or emotional reactions of the individual viewer. A series of speakers were set up around the theatre, and combined with very low tones in the soundtrack, an earthquake simulation was created at the precise moment it hit on the screen, providing an intense and powerful experience for spectators. This then was the inspiration for Larry Schultz to lead a team at Aura Systems Inc. to create a vest which could shake you, and produce a similar experience. Aura Systems Inc. were known for working in the defense industry, but wanted to expand their business model. It was with this that a device known as the Interactive Virtual Reality Vest was created. This force feedback device relied on patented electromagnetic actuator technology to convert bass sound waves into strong vibrations, helping to immerse the player in their game. Of course, the 90s were all about the emerging world of virtual reality and enhancing the game experience with all kinds of strange, fangled and often atrocious devices. Released in 1994, the Aura Interactor Vest played straight into that market, and even signed a deal with Acclaim to promote Mortal Kombat 2.
The world's first interactive game vest that lets you feel the action.
Combined with a $5 million advertising campaign, the Interactor sold well, and generally to quite high praise, as an exciting, enhancing accessory.
This interesting product that Kevin's holding is the Interactor Cushion by Aura.
Several racing games in the arcade in the past have incorporated a feature into the seat so that when you took an impact in the race, you actually felt a thump in your seat. That's what this machine tries to replicate in your home.
So roll on a couple of years and we get a cushion variant. It's essentially the same device, just for the more casual user. And really, it's that fact, the mundanity of the box, which drew me to it. It feels very much like it's caught somewhere between trying to be a radical gaming accessory and a casual enriching experience for the older consumer of entertainment. I mean, you just have to look at those pictures. Right, let's crack the box open. Of course, it's sealed. No one actually could be bothered to use this. Box fresh. Inside is a registration card, a couple of quick start guides for various devices. We get an amplifier in the box, some wires, a hefty power pack, and of course the cushion itself. Look at that. What a thing of true magnificence. Let's see what connections we get. So there's a long 3.5mm audio jack, this strange W-shaped lead, a splitter, and an audio, let's call it upscaler. Now, for my first port of call, I'm going to try this thing with an IBM PC compatible, given that's how it's portrayed on the box, and also because the year this came out was the time when PCs were really beginning to take off in terms of gaming. We'll need that splitter unit to plug into the sound card and split the audio between the speakers and the cushion itself. The other end of that jack then plugs into the amplifier input, which also itself requires power, and then we're pretty much good to go. Of course, the cushion itself. That plonks onto any old seat and then plugs into the amplifier output. Alright, now we're talking.
So, to sit on, at least on this chair, it's actually not too bad. It provides some quite nice lumbar support, although if you don't have a very deep chair, I imagine it could pose a bit of a problem. It takes up quite a lot of room at the back, but yeah, initially it feels okay. Of course, one main problem is if you stand up, it inevitably falls over because there's no straps to connect it to the back of the chair, which can be a bit of a nuisance. Alright, let's see what it's like in action.
So first up, I'm just going to try some simple MIDI files, see if they can get this thing going.
Even with a MIDI file, you can actually feel it quite intensely on your back. I bet this is going to be really good in a game. Surprisingly good. You can really feel the music thudding along, which is nice. Those low basses, but when you fire your weapon you can feel a short, sharp kind of thud into your back, which is quite satisfying. And that's just using the pistol. If I get the shotgun, oh yeah, you get a nice rumble after you fire, which is nice. I thought this was going to be absolutely crap, but I'm actually quite enjoying it. The minigun's going to be good. Oh yeah, just rapid kind of thudding into your back. Really makes you feel a bit more involved in the action. I guess it's like having a rumble pad, except this gives you a more all-over body experience. If you put it onto normal mode, you get music coming out of the cushion itself, which is interesting. It's like having surround sound and the low bass rumble in your back. I might try turning this music off, just having the bass rumble. It sounds like artillery firing in the distance on a bleak battlefield. Let's put it back onto normal mode.
So Doom worked pretty well with the Interactor Cushion, and as I found out, there are various modes which can increase or decrease your joy. Normal mode will allow higher frequencies from the cushion, giving you a very lo-fi surround sound feeling. Whilst modes A and B only allow the lower frequencies which induce rumble. Apparently the separate A and B modes were for future games, allowing two users to hook two amplifiers up to one computer and not feel each other's sound. However, there seems to be nothing which takes advantage of this rather niche feature. We also get a game/music switch, which is supposed to filter game sound effects, but really it's just an FEQ divider, leading to crackly effects and broken music. You may be pleased to know that other games work just as well as Doom. In fact, the weapon base on Descent 2 gives you a real smack in the back. Even using sensible golf adds a certain intensity you didn't realise could exist, or that you in fact needed for an enjoyable game of golf.
Par.
The poor little Buddha can't even take it. However, if that offends your sensibilities, you can always reduce the power output or filter the frequency range using the onboard controls. Alright, so it works well with the PC, but how about other machines? Well, the Mega Drive is an easy win because we can simply use the same 3.5mm audio cable plugged into the Mega Drive's headphone jack. Like the PC, the rumble is intense and punchy. I tried playing with Virtua Racer, which was a reasonable experience, but the car engines were a bit too high-pitched to get a real sense for the action. What we need is a more appropriate driving game. A game which will make the Interactor Cushion its own and actually give you the feel of a roaring engine just behind the driver's seat. But first, we need to work out this shitting wiring diagram. I mean, what cock-ing buffoon would take something so simple and compound it into this intricate stain of sickness? But look at the state of this wiring diagram. Look at it. What does it even mean? Look at what the hell? After some intense concentration, the riddle was solved, and the cushion was ready to go with the PlayStation and Destruction Derby 2. Oh god! That is immense bass on the Sony startup sound. Now I thought I'd try a different setting. I thought I'd try a lounge type setting to see how this works on the sofa, and initially seems quite good. Oh, the engine sound. Proper feel it in your back. Now this is a better game to use with this cushion. You can feel the engine sounds, you can feel the crash sounds, and you can feel the music as well. It definitely works well with a PlayStation, but that's not all. Because audio jack technology hasn't really moved on since the mid-90s, we can use this cushion with modern day equipment. Here I've set it up with my current PC to use with Nibray's Alien Isolation VR hack. And good God, this is where this cushion comes alive. Being able to feel the alien's footsteps thudding around. The howling sound of air swirling around the ship, the rumbling of engines, it really does add to the intensity of immersion here. Fuck. Really in a way which couldn't be realised in the 90s. Perhaps this cushion was actually very far ahead of its time, and only now can the dream be fulfilled. Failing that, you can always rip out the shakers and install them in your sofa, like various people seem to have done on the internet. I mean, they have 25 watts of RMS power, about 50 max, so a couple under a 3-seater sofa should put you in good stead. Marvellous. As for me, well, I'll be keeping it nearby, you know, for close encounters. The cushion never sold as well as its backpack predecessor, which allegedly sold several 100,000. But then it was never going to. This cushion didn't have the huge marketing campaign associated with that latest fangled accessory. No, this was just another way to sell the same technology to a more laid-back market. I mean, you're not going to sell a strap-on boombox to your classical music-loving granddad. But then you probably wouldn't sell this either. From what I can tell, it lingered on until the early noughties witnessed at a knockdown price in the Australian market. However, I feel, finally in 2019, its true potential has been unlocked. As have my bowels. Let's hope it's wiped clean. Thanks for watching. Have a great evening.